Good evening. I want to welcome all of you to a very special evening here at HeartLight Spiritual Center, especially some of you I don't know. We want to welcome you if you're a visitor, and most of you I do know, and welcome you for coming out. And you that are joining us tonight through stream, we want to welcome you also, and to you that will download this later. We want to welcome you to this very special night. I told the group here Sunday that the last time that I felt this strong about being a part of something that was planetary was in 1986, August the 16th, called the harmonic convergence. I had no idea what all that meant in 86. I was not that deeply into more metaphysical teachings, but I just knew I had to be a part of it. And so I gathered my staff in Indianapolis at that time, and we met at 5:30 or something in the morning in a park and just held hands and said nothing. And I felt this rush of energy go through me, and I knew my life was going to change. My ministry was going to take a turn, and it really did, a drastic turn. I feel that same urgency also. And this was something that was not thought out some time ago, but it happened in the last 48 hours, 72 hours at the most, that we came up with this idea. And it just came to me yesterday evening to call Susan. And I thought, oh, she'll be busy or she'll have appointments or she'll something. But she was available and ready to be here this evening with us. So we're very honored to have the expertise of our wonderful Susan. Thank you for being a part of that. I am not the expert as Susan is, but I just want to share with you what some of this is about to me, and then she's going to give you in much deeper details what this is all about. It's called the Great Conjunction 2020. Conjunction, sorry. Because of these two major planets that are out there coming together. Many of us saw it with our naked eye a while ago. We found a place out there through the trees where we was able to witness the fact. Even though these two planets are not exactly occupying the very same space, they are very close to each other, which is 16 arrow minutes. Now, I don't know what an arrow minute is, but it's the closest that it has been in a long time that these two have come together, which represents a changing of an era. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready for a change of an era. So it's amazing as this began actually this morning at 9:05 in the Aborigine peoples of Australia. They begin the celebration that goes through all this day and has reached us. At about 5:30 was actually the first appearing of this in the skies over Eastern time. So we're very privileged to be here and be a part of all of this. While the Great Conjunction happens every couple of decades, the 2020 alignment opens the door to an even bigger cycle. All phones off, please. Thank you. I should mention that first, and I forget every time to remind you. So, in the last 800 years or so of this every 20-year experience has been mostly in a different zodiac or a different sign, but now it is moving into the sign of air, an air sign. And I thought about that, and most of you know that my many years of study and research has been on the mysticism of the Bible and the mystics of Christianity before Christianity was. There lies so many wonderful truths for us before man messed with it and began to put it into a way as we know it today, beginning in 325 AD, the 4th century, when the ecumenical councils begin to put together the Christianity of today. Before that, there was much more pure truth, as long as it was pure from the Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic, and also Sanskrit. So I thought about this, and I thought, everything that I do like this, I somehow find it coded in the Bible. And what was given to me was kind of interesting. It may not be interesting to you, but it is to me. And I'm going to share a little bit of it this morning. I'm used to being here in the mornings, not in the evenings, with you. And I'm going to read a scripture to you to do this. And it is a scripture that is a doctrine of Christianity based upon something called the rapture doctrine. How many have heard of the rapture doctrine? The rapture doctrine is the flying away of people into the sky to meet Jesus, and the world ends and horrible things happen and so on and so forth. And one thing I love is taking back what they have stolen from us and to make us understand this on a deeper mystical level. But where this doctrine comes from is from 1 Thessalonians 4 and 16. And of course, I'm going to take it from where? The Mirror Bible. The Mirror Bible that I love so much. And this is the Lord, the Spirit, whatever you choose to call the divine or the sacred, will personally step out of the invisible heavenly realm into our immediate visible horizon with an exciting shout, announcing the triumph reign in the trumpet-like billowing voice of God, and even the dead will rise from their sleep, since they too are included into this, what we call Christ consciousness. In the wake of this arising, we will all be gathered together in a large, dense multitude of an innumerable throng of people, united as one, like the particles of water in a cloud. Now, in the regular Bible, it says we shall meet him in the clouds. And of course, everybody thinks the little white fluffy clouds up there in the sky somewhere. But this is talking about a community of innumerable groups of people that are going to come together in this mass attention of the raising of the frequency of humanity out of being Homo sapien into Homo universal, or what's called Homo luminous state. We will encounter the Spirit in the very air we breathe, and so shall we continually celebrate the I amness in the union with Spirit. This is the moment where deity and mankind are married, the bride and the bridegroom, the human and the divine, the inner and the outer, the male and the female. In the air. So I thought of this coming into an official moment, as I see it, of Aquarian. Now, we've talked about being in Aquarian for a long time. I mean, it really started in, 68 with the age of Aquarius and the music from Hair and all of that, and the Fifth Dimension. Interesting, the Fifth Dimension made that song popular back in the 60s. So a lot of people has wanted that to happen, and they've tried to make it happen. But actually, we are on the threshold of it actually happening. All of these signs and eras and cycles begin by overlapping each other, the old and the new. So many people are living more in the normacy of a third dimensional old paradigm, while some have slipped over into a fifth dimensional paradigm. So the two are existing together on the planet. And in that is a polarity that the ego defines as separation. And that's why you see so much separation going on. Politics, racism, gender, all these tremendous separation that is going on is the ego's world's interpretation of the polarities that have been put against each other coming together finally. So I'm declaring the intention that this is the time from this night forward that we're going to see more and more of what has been separated coming back together again on a different dimension. I don't think it'll ever be done on this dimension. You know the old saying that it's insanity to try to find an answer to a solution where the problem was first found. So it's all in changing our frequency that's going to make the difference in the rising into the air of Aquarius, into the air sign of Aquarius. So we who are alive shall be caught up. We will literally, which means together, in the clouds, in the air, in the pneuma, in the spirit, in the heavenlies. So this is a time of retuning that is taking place today. I believe that we are at a transitional point where we are moving out of the age of Pisces officially into the age of Aquarius, is what I'm saying to you. No more so much overlap, but the new norm of Aquarian principles and laws will not only be taught, but will be manifested. We will see it happening. Under this conjunction, we shall see a shift into more community-based living. This is why there's a call to come together. If you haven't found your community, I hope that you will be open to receive, because this is not going to be an individual experience any longer. It says we shall meet him in the air together, collectively. It's not just one person any longer. Because if one of it does it, we're going to go out here and start a religion. And people's going to plug into us and make us the new guru, the new leader, the new person to follow. That can't happen under Aquarian. Aquarian is a coming together of a co-creative community of people joining together. Rather than looking to big government or big business for support, we could instead turn to smaller community-run organizations and small businesses. This is going to be a great energy for entrepreneurship. For you that it might still be on any kind of job that you dread going, that you feel like you're just surviving to keep a roof over your head, but you have this deep passion to do something in the form of healing or raising consciousness of the planet. This is going to be a wonderful time for you to go out and to begin to create your own spiritual businesses that's going to be blessed. Soul Energetics is what Tim and I have and represent for you that are new here. It's a 20-year-old international company that I started by teaching vibration and sound through tuning forks. We have gone worldwide. We are in many languages, and we have done better this year than all of the 20 years we have been in business. Now, I'm not saying that with pride. I'm saying it with humility, because of the fact that I believe when the old is breaking down, the new should be breaking through. Things really should be being better for you, because you are what I call the first fruits of the harvest. You are the light workers, the critical mass. It's called many things, but it is that mass consciousness coming together in the form of a people that's going to together rise in consciousness and vibration and meet our true self in the air of Aquarius. This is an exciting time. We should all be very blessed to be a part of this. So what I wanted to do this morning on my part here is part of what we teach in tuning forks is planetary tuners. We have planetary tuners. We have a vibration for every planet and frequency. And of course, because that we are dealing with these two very important planets at this particular time, which is, help me out, Jupiter and Saturn, that this is going to be an important time. So we do a little workshop in which we show these and the characteristics of these planets, and we all kind of just say them together. So we're going to show you that. I'm going to ask you to join if you'd like to, and I'll kind of show you how this goes. This is Jupiter, And these are the things that define Jupiter. So listen to how this kind of works. Here's the tone of Jupiter. Expansion, jovial, grace, optimism, openness, connection with higher self, confidence in life, bubbly joy. We just kind of do that. Saturn, focus, discipline, acceptance of duties, patience, reliability, achievement, and structure. Listen to the frequency and the sound of these planets. These planets that are at this moment closer than they have ever been in hundreds of years. I've heard 800 years. I don't know. The numbers are different from everybody, so take your pick, and I'm sure Susan will help us with that understanding of that. So for 800 years, this has been happening, but in a completely different sign. Is it the water sign that was there? And now it's moving into the air sign.
Yes.
Correct. So this is a major conjunction that is taking place, and here's how it's kind of been going on all the way from November all the way to now on December 21st. Now, even though these planets kind of have a polarity with each other, they're not exactly the same. They're kind of what we would say opposites in some ways. They're coming together. And what does that tell us? It tells us those things that have been against each other are going to come closer and closer together. I don't know how it's going to happen in the climate and environment of today. How in the world are we going to get together? It's going to take a cosmic event. It's going to take a cosmic intervention. We're not going to do this by our own self-intellectual reasoning. It's just not going to work. People are so set in the way that they believe and so set in the perception in which they have about what's going on in the world today that people are not in a place to be changed intellectually. So it's going to take something in a higher dimension, an intervention. And to me, that is what is called in religion the coming of the Christ consciousness. It is coming in the forefront, out of the invisible and to be made visible. Out of the invisible and made visible. And I'm really tired. I've spent a lot of decades talking about things of the invisible. I built a ministry for 50 years talking about the invisible through faith and through belief, but I'm ready to see something. I'm ready to see a manifestation of what I've been talking about for 50 years and trying to believe. But I'm ready to see the manifestation of those principles that are in the high heavens coming into the earth of our being at this particular time. So I'm excited about this. As I say, I don't have an intellectual take on all of this. I just know in my heart and in my spirit that this is an important cross point in our lives today. And thank you for being a part of all of that. These are actually the two tuning forks for them. So I'm going to sit here and try to see if we can let you hear. This is Saturn, which is 147.85 hertz. And this is the tremendous work, I don't know why I'm pulling that toward me. This is the work of Hans Cousteau in his research, a German engineer and architect and cosmologist who was able to take the distance between planets and the sun and put them into frequencies and then lower the octaves down into our range that we could hear them. It was an amazing feat for him to do that, and we're appreciative of that today. So this is the vibration, the sound of Saturn. This is the sound of Jupiter. course, you can feel the vibration of these planets on your meridians or parts of your body or whatever. Now I'm going to do them together, since that's what we're here to celebrate, is this conjunction of the two. So that's the frequencies and the vibration of those things to be done. They tell me at this time that the veil is as thin as it's ever been between the invisible and the visible world at this time. Later, we're going to have you to participate in some of the things that you want to see in your life at this time, because this is the time to do it. This is the time to be clear in your intentions of what you want to see manifested into your life. And we're going to give you an opportunity to do that. One last thing I'm going to share with you that I liked. It said the drawing was shown to this person through the tunnel of spirals. It is moving through this tunnel, and it is pressurized so much, these glasses are terrible, pressurized so much to be forced to split into two leaves that leaves the tunnel, like a cell dividing. These two cells are the same earth, but they are separate, two new energy dynamics that we get to work with on this planet, and where not previously was available to us. So people are at a crossroads of the power of choice. It's the greatest gift that's been given to us on the planet Earth is choice. Choose this day, it says. Choose this day in whom you're going to serve. One of these cells represents the falling back further into old karmic patterns. Now, I believe that people are not going to be forced into fifth dimensional living. They're going to have the choice of staying in third dimensional living. This is I dare to not put my toe in the political idea, but this idea of keeping things the way they were, that the answer is keeping things the way it was, is the way to go forward, are those, and there's millions of people in this country and around the world who are choosing that pattern of keeping the patterns of third dimension. In third dimension, there's prophecies of California falling into the ocean. There's horrible things to happen, and they are happening, and people don't realize it, that they're manifesting their own self-fulfilled prophecies because they don't know their power. People do not know the power. But if you have millions of people that believe a certain thing, they can manifest it. So people who choose to stay in the patterns of third dimension will continuously develop the patterns of the third dimension. And that is going to split the earth into two completely different dimensions. If we keep moving on this path, eventually we go beyond the past, we know, and are into deeper darkness. And that's what you're seeing now. You're seeing the third dimension more and more going into deeper darkness. The other cell represents moving forward into new ways never seen before. We move into stretching our abilities as human beings and being able to create things that are not currently perceivable by our minds. If we keep moving on this path, eventually we stretch ourselves to new and higher levels of consciousness. The choice of which cell we choose to follow is our own. And for most people, we may find ourselves balancing between both. So we have to make one of the greatest irreversible choices that we've ever made in the evolution in the history of mankind. Are we going to stay in the dense earth of third dimensional old patterns that is no longer serving us and ready to fall away from us? Or will we follow the path of the new earth, that will bring us into new patterns, that will create a new earth and a new biology. Earth and biology are connected. What happens to our Mother Earth happens to the biology of her children. So this is something that's not just an inward job, it is something that is already reaching the cellular level. The changing of molecules, the changing of DNA, all of these things are in great opportunity to shift, to transform, and to change. And as we say here so often, that little caterpillar has stopped eating and nibbling on that leaf because something's about to happen. It didn't know what, but something huge is getting ready to happen to that caterpillar. And what is being activated in him is called mirror molecules, mirror cells that are going to mirror a new norm, a new pattern for humanity. Exciting, isn't it? And we are, those who remain are alive. Thank God we are still alive. Let us be caught up into this wonderful new age of Aquarius and caught up in the air to soar as an eagle. I'm tired of being the little chicken in third dimension pecking around the barnyard in my little fence. You know, there's a great story about that, about the chicken that found a little eagle that had been dropped out of the nest. And the chicken mother hen adopted that little eagle and brought up the eagle to be a chicken. It thought it was a chicken. It did everything chickens did. When the storm would come, it ran to get under the mother for protection. But one day, something that little eagle didn't understand was activated, called true self, destiny. And it stopped. And this time the worst storm was happening and the wind was blowing and something said, don't run this time. But what do I do? I'm sure the little eagle was thinking. And he looked up on the fence post and something said, jump up there. But I don't know how. I'm a chicken. No, you're not. It was going off into his mind. And he found himself up on the fence post looking into the storm. Everything that he'd been taught was run back, run back. But he found himself going off the fence post into the storm and flying through the storm until he found himself above the storm on a mountaintop where the sun was always shining. And at that moment, he knew he was not what he had been taught to be, but he was who he'd been created and born to be, an eagle. So let us find this same moment of the potentials and the destinies of higher dimensions that is waiting for us to soar into these higher places. Today, a stargate has been opened to us. A veil is not only pale, but I believe it's being rent from top to bottom. And the way into the most holy of all holy places is open to us. Yes, in the midst of a pandemic. Yes, in the midst of governments crumbling. Yes, in the midst of people dying. How horrible that all looks. But something shall rise out of the ashes of it. Thank you. All right. And it's my privilege to now introduce to you Susan Reynolds. She is one of ours here. We claim her at HeartLight. And we love her and we appreciate. She also is going to be doing, she'll probably mention this, but she'll be doing the predictions for 2021 here on the 16th of January. Is that correct? 10th. The 10th. Okay, it'll be a Sunday right after the service that she's going to give us the predictions for this year. And I'll tell you about, if I remember last year, she was pretty right on. So looking forward to that time. So we invite you to come out and be with us. So Susan, come and just share whatever you have on your heart to share with us. Thank you.
All right. What a day this has been, and what a year we are moving into. Last night, David and Tim called me up, and they were like, we're thinking about doing this thing tomorrow, and they graciously invited me to be a part of it. And I was going to wrap presents tonight, but I'm like, heck with that. I want to talk astrology. But I have a choice of wrapping presents or talking astrology. Guess which one is going to win out? So I said, I'm there. But I also said, I'm not going to have a lot of time to prepare. And so whatever I talk about, are you okay with off the top of my head? And they were like, yeah, some of the best stuff is that impulsive off the top of your head, because you never know what you're going to say or where it's going to come from or how it's going to turn out. And so I will tell you, today is the great conjunction of 2020 in Aquarius. This is an event that astrologers have been giddy with excitement about for months. You know, as an astrologer, I've just been getting more and more excited because this is something that doesn't happen very often. When we are talking about the Great Conjunction, we are talking about two planets, Jupiter and Saturn, coming together in the sky. And they don't do this very often. They've done it before, but not often. About every 20 years, they will bump up against each other. They have never bumped up against each other in Aquarius in our lifetime. Mm-hmm. The last time they bumped up against each other in the sign of Aquarius was in the 1600s. So this is a rare event, and it is something that astrologers do not have a lot of history in. One of the ways we figure out what's going to happen and what this is going to mean is we look in the past. How did this play out before? And we don't have anywhere to look, because our life right now does not bear a whole lot of resemblance to what somebody's life was like in the 1600s. You know, we may feel like serfs, but chances are most of us are not working a field with an overlord over us, which is, you know, probably what the 1600s were like. So astrologers are looking at a brave new world. Not only are these two planets coming together, today is the winter solstice. So we have two major astrological events occurring at the same time. And they are bringing together an enormous amount of power for us, for the individual. We have Jupiter and Saturn trying to figure out a way to work together. And Jupiter is the life of the party. Jupiter never met a party it didn't want to go to. It never met anything it didn't want to make bigger and better and more fun, and let's have a party. And Saturn is the one going, what's this going to cost? So these two planets have nothing in common. It's not that they even hate each other. They're chalk and cheese. They have no common ground. And now it's like taking the tails of two cats, tying them together and throwing them in a sack, going, make peace. So how are we tall and short at the same time? How are we black and white, up and down, together? I'm going to tell you flat out, because I want you to be prepared for this and ready for this. Over the coming months, you're probably going to have a few days when you feel schizophrenic. And that's perfectly normal. When the Jupiter energy is riding high, you're feeling like, I can do anything. This is going to be great. I can't believe I didn't think of this before. And then Saturn comes in the next day, and you're like, who am I kidding? This is never going to work. Let me just pull the covers over my head. And sadly, this is going to be the norm. We have to find a way to work with these energies together. And we have to find a way to work with them in the sign of Aquarius. Now, I happen to love the sign of Aquarius because I have a lot of Aquarian energy in my chart. Aquarius is the sign of the astrologer. Aquarius rules all kinds of new age subjects. Aquarius rules what is new, what is different, what is avant-garde. For the last 2.5, almost 3 years, the planet Saturn has been in Capricorn, which is a planet that is very reserved, shall we say. Capricorn is traditional. It's all about authority. Do what I say because I say so. Doesn't want to discuss it. I'm the boss, you're the employee, you're going to do it. And we have seen concepts of authority play out in our world. How much authority is enough? How much is too much? So for the last 3.5 years, we've had all this authority and rigidity and stuck energy, especially in 2020. Talk about stuck. I mean, literally, we haven't been able to leave our homes for some time. This is all getting ready to change. because now Saturn is getting ready to go into the sign of Aquarius. And Aquarius is nothing like Capricorn. If Capricorn is about the past, Aquarius is about the future. If Capricorn is traditional, Aquarius is all quirky. It wants to try it. Aquarius wants to eat dessert first. Let's wear a tutu to school, you know? Just because it's never been done doesn't mean it's not going to work. Let's try something new. Aquarius will do something that actually hurts themselves just because they don't want to do what everybody else does. Everybody else is going out for Mexican food. And they're like, no, I want to go out for Thai. Even if they're allergic to Thai food, they will go out for Thai food, so they are not like everybody else. These two signs have to find a way to keep the best of the traditional, the best of Capricorn, and yet allow the newness of Aquarius into our lives. Now, I'm a professional astrologer, and when I read for clients, and I mention the word change, I can feel their energy start to close down. What do you mean change? I don't like this. What kind of change? What is happening? Can we fix that? I want that out of my chart. Do something. Most people don't say yippee when I say, no, we're going to talk about the changes coming up next year. We don't necessarily embrace that wholeheartedly. So Aquarius is coming in. The question is, where do you want your change? And how can you embrace it? One of the things that I'm going to suggest is finding change in small ways. Try a new flavor of ice cream. Drive to work down a new road. Oh, I've never gone down that road before. Let's see what's down there. Talk about a metaphor. Let's go down this new road. Yeah. Change up the furniture in the house. You know, move the couch into the dining room area, move the dining room set into the living room and see what happens. When we make changes that are small, that are minor, the possibility of chaos and the possibility of it crashing down around us is very small, and we can feel more empowered. This energy is not coming in to hurt you or to cut out the ground from underneath you. This energy is coming in to bring in new opportunities, things that you may have always been afraid of, things that you may have always secretly held in your heart that you don't talk about. Have you always wanted to sing in front of a group, but you're too scared to do it? Aquarius has an enormous amount of courage with it. And when it comes in, we sort of square our shoulders and go, I'm going to do it. We may be scared, but we don't let the fear stop us. For those of you who know me, you know that I am probably the biggest technophobe that you are ever going to meet. Literally, this is the first time I'm using an ear mic. And twice, Tim had to put it on my ear before I came up here today. So we know this is clearly not my best thing. And yet, as these new Aquarian energies are coming in, I have decided to embrace technology on my terms. I'm looking at upgrading my website. I have signed up for a Zoom, and I actually used Zoom to do a client's reading, and it worked out fine. A personal best. What can I say? The thing that had always stopped me is now the thing that I'm embracing. When we reach out to embrace this change on our terms, it empowers us. When we resist this change, that is when we start to have a problem, because the universe is asking something new of us. And if we stick our little heels in that ground and go, make me, it will. We will start to get a nudge. And if we ignore it, we get a bigger nudge. And if we ignore that, we get a tap on the shoulder. And if we haven't moved yet, we get hit in the head with a 2x4. And most of you have probably had moments in your life when you've been hit in the head with a 2x4. And trust me, it is not comfortable. This energy coming in now gives us the power to do it on our terms. The fact is, this is occurring on the day of the winter solstice. The winter solstice is when the daylight hours are the shortest and the nighttime hours are the longest. Think of a top when it's spinning and it starts to slow down and then it sort of stops and then it starts to spin in a new direction. That moment of stillness, that moment of change in direction, that is the winter solstice. And there is great power in this. We have the opportunity to use that stillness to embrace the newness of what is coming forward. Now, on January 10th, when I do my predictions talk here, I'll be talking about this in much greater detail, because this is going to affect our communities, our neighborhood, our nation. It's going to affect the world internationally, and of course, it's going to affect our own personal life. Everyone here has Aquarius somewhere in their chart. Trust me, I'm an astrologer, I know this. You have Aquarius somewhere in your chart, even if you do not have any planets there. And as these two planets, Saturn and Jupiter, come together, they're going to light up that area of your life. And it's going to ask something of you, but it's also going to offer you that opportunity. Aquarius rules the future, and it rules our dreams. Not the dreams we have when we go to sleep with our REM sleep. It's our ideals, our dreams for what we want our life to be. Sometimes we have big dreams that we don't talk about to anybody else. Sometimes we're a little ashamed of some of those dreams. Oh, I better not talk about that. That sounds kind of, egotistical. I don't want to think I have a big head, We often have dreams we don't talk about, or dreams we put aside, saying, okay, I'm grown up now. Chances are never going to be a ballerina, We make our choices. But Aquarius wants us to dream and dream big. So many of you will start looking at a new future, new dreams, or dreams that you've put away that have come back. Maybe you're going to start writing that book. Maybe you're going to change your jobs. You're going to be looking at how you can create a future that is more fulfilling to you. Our nation is going to see this as well, because Aquarius is progressive. And I do not know all the ways this is going to play out, but I can tell you that we are going to see some major changes in our nation, in the world. And when we're seeing those on our personal level, and we're seeing them in our nation, we're seeing them in the world, sometimes that's a little overwhelming. We just just give me a minute. I just, stop this merry-go-round. I need a minute to deal with this. But Aquarius kind of keeps coming at you. And so as this new energy comes in, we are going to see changes, some of which we agree with, some of which we don't. Aquarius rules humanity. And I love this, because we are ushering in, as David said, the age of Aquarius. It is when we are all connected, when we see ourselves as being part of the whole, not separate from this group or that group, but everyone together. This is the dream, the goal, the ideal of what Aquarius is, all of us being humans together. It is a sign of brotherhood. Fairness and justice are the purview of Aquarius. You want to get Aquarius upset, do something, and you will hear them say, that's not fair. And you better step back, because them's fighting words for Aquarius. They are the ones who are out in the street marching. You think we saw civil unrest in 2020? Oh, honey, you ain't seen nothing yet. But I don't see that as negative. I don't see the civil unrest as violent. I see it as people speaking up, as people saying we want a more egalitarian society. We want the dreams of what our country can be to not be dreams, but to move into reality. This is what Aquarius does. It is a sign that rules groups. It is a sign that rules friendships. We are going to see lots of different kinds of groups popping up everywhere. We're going to see all kinds of very narrow groups. Are you an over 50 New York transplant vegan person? That may be a group of 3 people, but we're going to see people want to connect with others, and they're going to find the ways to do this. You're going to have new people coming into your life, new groups that you want to join. Remember that Aquarius, in addition to rule astrology, is going to rule the new age. And things that were poo-pooed and ridiculed not that long ago are going to find acceptance. We are going to see hospitals offering Reiki and acupuncture, and doctors talking about what kind of supplements you're taking, you know? We're going to see more people not only aware of energy healing, but embracing energy healing. No longer are you going to have to hide that you know what sign you are, you know? I had a client's mother that I was talking to while I was waiting for her, and she's a very sweet woman and probably in her 80s and understands what her daughter is doing and doesn't really understand all of it. And she said, now I'm a Capricorn. What does that mean for me? And it just tickled me because a Capricorn is so conservative and so traditional. And here she was kind of open to this. And I thought, I bet I see you as a client next year, but I didn't say that to her. I thought it might freak her out a little bit. But we are going to see friends, relatives that always sort of ridiculed you just a little bit, slide up and go. Now, these psychics you go to, what do they say about next month or next year? They're going to say maybe a little, you know, underneath the table sort of thing, but they're going to start opening up. And we're going to be looked at as the mainstream more than the avant-garde. But we are also going to be the canary in the cage that is going to be showing the rest of the world, this is how you use these energies. We have to make sure that we are handling this change on our terms, because otherwise we can get stuck in a situation where we're making choices that are not always very pleasant. Aquarius, for all of its embracing of change and newness and courage, it is a fixed sign. And this means that I don't want to offend any Aquarians that are in the audience, but it is quite stubborn. And if you're an Aquarius or know an Aquarius, you know exactly what I am talking about. And once an Aquarius gets an idea in their head, they do not change it very quickly or very easily. And so if you have decided that this is your path and this is how you're going to do it, you can accidentally make things a little harder for yourself than they need to be. You have to be able to look at your own desires and use today. Oh my God, I love the fact that we're doing this today, because the winter solstice gives us the power of creation. It empowers us to create our future. 2021 is going to be a big year. And I'm super, super excited about all the things that I see coming up. Am I going to like all of them? No. But I'm going to like it a whole lot better than 2020. And somebody was asking me, Susan, what's happening in 2021? And I said, well, it's going to be better than 2020. And she said, no offense, but that bar is set kind of low. Can you do better than that? You know? And I said, well, I'm still working on it, because I start working on my predictions around November. And so then I work on them right up until the first time that I give that talk. And some of the things that I see are coming in intuitively, and some of them are astrological. But we have exciting things. This is where we mentally have to be aware that our entire world is moving into a new level of being. Somebody asked me years ago, I think at the harmonic convergence, what is going to happen in the age of Aquarius? And I said, we are going to start to use our minds and embrace the power of the mind. We are going to start to see mental telepathy and people communicating mind to mind with no middle ground. Now, I don't see it happening by the end of this week or even by the new year. But this is the kickoff for that, because we are starting to embrace the power and realizing that we have that power of creation within us, and we are letting go of our fear. And the more that we can do that in little ways, the more that we can welcome that in big ways. And this is the power of the winter solstice, and this is the excitement of the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction in Aquarius. Now, I know I have a finite amount of time, but I wanted to take just a couple of minutes, and I'm going to turn it back to you, to take any questions you guys have about anything about Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, about Aquarius, about what's coming up. Do you all feel like you're ready to embrace this? Yeah. All right. And nobody has any questions? Okay. I expect to see Facebook stuff from all of you, the newness from all of you. I'm going to be watching. I expect to see new pathways and exciting times happen. And David and I talked about this yesterday, and we wanted to see about doing something a little concrete about letting go of fear and embracing the newness and embracing the change. So I'm going to turn this over to you for you to do if you want to, or did you want me to do it? You did. Okay. In the back, there are some index cards and some pens. And if there's anybody sitting in the back, can you pass those out? Okay. I guess we're allowed to pass things out these days.
Well, you can use your own pen if you have it.
Yeah.
I'll take one of those. And those watching online, go ahead and take a moment to grab a piece of paper and pen.
Okay, so everybody got a little square paper and pen or pencil. All right. I want you all to close your eyes and take a deep breath. And I want you to think of something, anything, big or small, that you would like to change in your life. Maybe you would like a new job. Maybe you'd like to lose weight. Maybe you would like a bigger house or a smaller house. Maybe you'd like to not be afraid of trying something new. Maybe you'd like love, romance, family. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be something as small as learning how to bake a cake, or something as big as changing in your life. But it's something you kind of wish was there. It's not there right now. When you have it, I want you to write it down on your piece of paper. And this is between you and you. Nobody else is going to read this. Nobody else has to know this. Absolutely. I would probably limit it to no more than 3, but up until 3, I would say. Write them down. This is your moment in time of giving your instructions to your higher self and to the universe. Because what you are saying in this moment of the winter solstice is you're giving your assignment to the universe here. Here's what I want to change. Here's how I want my life to be different and better. So make sure you've written that down. And as I say, it's okay if you have more than one, but don't spend time putting 22 things down on that list. And when you have at least one thing written down on that piece of paper, I want you to close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, and you're thinking about whatever that is, and you're thinking about maybe what holds you back, or you don't even see a way that that is possible, I want you to picture a beautiful field of green, trees and birds. And there's one thing that's a little bit different about this field. This field is covered with eggs. Some are large white eggs, Some are brown eggs like you buy in the grocery store. Some are smaller quail eggs. Some eggs have little spots on them. Some are tucked away behind a tree or hiding in the grass. Others are right there in front of you. And I want you to look out over all of these eggs. And I want you to ask your higher self and your guides to guide you to the one egg that has the answer to what you want to change. And as you do that, you find one place in this meadow and one egg that you know is the right one. And if you have written more than one thing, there'll be more than one egg. And as you walk over to it, you bend down to pick it up. And you're holding it in your hand. And as you do that, the egg breaks open. As it breaks open, something inside of you is breaking open as well. All that has held you back is breaking down, going away, and being released. And inside that egg that is now open is a gift for you. A talisman, a phrase, words of guidance or encouragement. Maybe what is inside that egg is an idea that you never thought of. It is for you and only you. Keep this to yourself. It is the beginning for you of a new year, of a new way of living your life. As you do this, you can come back and you can pick another egg at any time that you want. Because as each one of these breaks open, your life breaks open to become bigger, happier, more fulfilling. This is the gift that 2021 is going to bring you. So embrace it with excitement and joy and wonder. See the newness and understand that no matter what kind of changes are happening, you are safe. You are moving forward. You are loved. And when you are ready and you have fully embraced your gift, open your eyes and come back to the here and the now. Okay. And in the back, we have a basket. And I'm going to ask Karen, if you don't mind, would you just start to pass it around? This has been a gift from David and I to everyone. So it is strictly by a love offering. And I am going to thank everyone for being here to help open this up inside of yourself and bring in a new energy for the community, the nation, and the planet. You have no idea the wonderful things that 2021 is going to bring. So I'm going to say thank you and have a good night.
Please let's be a blessing to Susan for her willingness to come and share for us. We want to be a blessing to her. So please give. A couple of things just before you leave. One more thing is, Rhonda, why don't you just kind of tell everybody, she has a gift for everybody. Since this time is going to be a time of retuning and rebalancing, she has a little gift for us. Rhonda's our essential oil expert here at the community, and she has a giving, lovely heart. So she wants to share. Kind of tell them what you have for us.
I just made little tiny bottles that just have about 5 drops of a proprietary oil called Balance, talking about balancing what we have from our old lives into our new lives. And this is made up of spruce, whole wood and frankincense oil. Very, very grounding, and will be very good at facilitating meditation, relaxing, centering with yourself. And there's enough oil in there to use it a couple of times. I suggest you to put a drop on your wrists, on your pulse points, and rub it like that and breathe it, or on your palms. If you have any left on your wrist, you can put it on the back of your neck, some of the places where this will permeate through your skin right away. But the main thing that it does, if you familiar at all with aromatherapy, is that it will enter through your olfactory nerve, through the amygdala, in the limbic system, which is the seat of emotions and the seat of our heartfelt centering. So I just want everybody to have one.
Thank you.
Again, I want to thank everybody for coming out and being a part of this wonderful event. And we want to invite any of you that are visitors, come visit us. We're here at 11:15 on Sundays. We do an hour class every Wednesday morning at 11. We do chair Tai Chi next door at 10 o'clock on Wednesdays. And we have done our best to keep things open and yet safe for everyone. So please come and visit us. All right, thank you so much for coming. Everybody have your little balance thing before you leave. Be sure and see her. All right, thank you so much. Bless you. Welcome to the age of Aquarius.